Awesome, guys. All right, so thanks once again, everybody, for being here. I am very, very grateful for you guys to be spending time here because you could be doing something else, but you choose to come here to level up, not just usually I talk about stocks, ETFs, and options, right? But today we are going to cover another topic, which is property. And I believe this topic is something that's highly relevant to all of us because eventually, okay, whether you have a property now or not, eventually you are likely going to purchase one. So, how many of you already have a property? If that is you, can you type me in the chat? Okay, how many of you are already property owner? If you are, type me in the chat. Okay, how many of you are property owners here? Katie, obviously, right? If you have a family, you want to have a property. Okay, how many of you haven't had your property yet, but you might want to consider having one in the future? If that is you, can you type one in the chat? Okay, you might be consider having one in the future. Okay, so regardless, okay, I felt like one of the things that I'm going to share with you is highly relevant because it's my own personal mistakes that I wish someone would have told me earlier so that I wouldn't be facing the $100,000 worth of losses that I am actually currently facing right now. And I felt there's so many insights that I can share with you openly from my own experience. Whatever things that I make money, I want to share with you. Whatever things that I lose money, I also want to share with you so that you can really see a holistic picture of how an investor's will be as a journey, right? It doesn't mean that, me, I'm good at individual stock picking, I'm good at ETF selection. It means that I will make money all the time, right? There are areas that I'm not familiar with, like property, and I did not get the necessary insights and guidance. That's how I end up losing money. So I really want to prevent you from falling into that trap so that when you start your property investing journey, like Ryan, you intend to have one in the future, what is something that you should be looking out for so that it become a stronger investment and a better investment for you. Okay, how many of you would love to improve as an investor? If you love it, can you type I in the chat? Okay, I stands for improvement. So tonight it's all about improvement, learning from my own mistakes, and also very importantly, I will also be inviting very successful property investors over here so that they can also come and share with you their insights, okay, in terms of their success insights. For me, is I'm sharing with you my failure so that you don't have to repeat after me. Okay, so now very importantly is when it comes to investment, there are always good investment, but when it comes to property investing, okay, there are also some poison that you should be mindful for. And that is why, for me, I'll be sharing with you the poison that I personally took, and you can learn to avoid them from the very beginning. So I just want to let you know, right? I bought my first property. If you've been following me for a few years, right, you know that actually I bought it like 5 years ago. And I actually didn't expect myself to be losing money after 6 years. How many of you actually were quite shocked when you hear me saying that I actually lost money after 5 years of investing in a Singapore property? If you felt so, can you type S in the chat? Okay, S stands for shock, right? And I was equally shocked. Believe it or not, like at first I thought that I'll be making money. I thought it's gonna be a smooth sailing journey. But when I look into my property valuation recently, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect myself to be losing right now actually $100,000. And this was a picture that was taken 5 years ago when I first bought my private condo in Singapore. Some of you also know the project, which is actually Normanton Park, right? So like I said, right, everybody, when you first started investing journey, you wanted to make money. You thought that you'd be making money. So just to let you know, I bought it in like 2021, about December area, right? December area. Probably agent will, yeah, that's what most agents out there would tell you, right? They just want you to buy. And that's why they will say, oh, she'll make money one. So that's why I buy into that story. And I really didn't do enough research. That is actually my mistake. But do you know, actually, initially, I was indeed making money. So I bought it about like 2021 December area. My per square foot that I bought was $1,900. It's actually more than the chart that you see here, but that is about 1,009. And in the first few years, before I can sell away, okay, if I sell away, I will get like a stamp duty, seller stamp duty, right? Which I don't want to pay for the seller stamp duty. That's why obviously I wouldn't be selling, even though at first I was making money, right? But what happened was after my 3 years seller stamp duty was over, I was looking to sell, right? And what happened was I observed this trend of the prices keep on going down. And recently, when I checked the transaction record in January this year, I basically bought a one bedroom. Okay, can we, everybody type one BR in the chat? Okay, so this is a very key important thing that you need to take away. Okay, I bought a one bedroom. So remember, I bought it at about $1,900 per square foot. And what was the selling price that the recent transaction took place? Okay, the latest one, okay, is 1777. So literally, they were selling almost $130 below my purchase price, right? So then after that, that was in January this year. What happened was I continued to observe the property price. Then recently I saw another person who sold at 879,000. So this it's even less than 1777. So what happened was I calculated how much I forked out initially, right? My purchase price was 1 million, okay? To be exact, it's 999,999. Okay, so like literally $1 million. And right now, if I were to sell based on the market price, it will be selling at 879. So it literally means that if I were to sell now, I could potentially face up to $100,000 worth of losses. So if you were me, guys, okay, would you want to sell? Yes or no? Can you tell me? Would you want to sell if you have to face 100K losses? Okay, so some of you say, oh, some will say, no, not now. Yeah, so I will tell you my decision eventually, but well, that is what I'm facing right now, right? So that is why I felt my number one lesson that I learned from these 5 years of holding this property is don't assume that the property price will always go up, right? Because that is not what your agents tell you when they sell you the project, right? They will sell you, wow, in 3 years you can flip, you can like one bedder make 100K, then you can exit, then you can buy another like two bedder, three bedders, right? So that was a picture that I was painted back then. And it was so different from my expectation. So can everybody type M in the chat? Okay, M stands for manage your expectation. Regardless whether you are buying your property, whichever room that you're buying, I think you also need to manage your expectation that property price might not be able to increase as much as how COVID time increased. Because of COVID, there was a lot of demand, but there was very little supply. Constructions were halted, right? And because of that, the property price really get pushed up. But right now, the situation has changed. So I think managing expectations, if I were to manage my expectation back then, I wouldn't be having such a high hope than to compare to the current disappointment I'm facing right now. Okay, so that is lesson number one. And I think lesson number two, very importantly, is Buffett also says this, right? Say like price is what you pay, but value is what you get. I knew it well in stock picking. I knew it well in ETF selection, but I did not apply this to property, right? And it was actually the number one mistake because um, a lot of times is when I bought my property back then, I did such a quick like rash decision. I literally have to say it's a rash decision because I bought it within like less than 1 month. Like after I went there and then immediately I already like want to purchase and all this and I didn't even shop around. So guys, can everybody type S in the chat? Okay, S stands for shop. Go and shop around. You don't have to make rash decision because there are many property projects out there, right? It doesn't mean that like new launch is always better than resale condo. Why do I say that? Because if back then I was offered the advice that, hey, Chloe, why not we slow down? Why not we shop around more rather than just jump into the conclusion that, oh, just buy the latest new launch based on your budget, which is 1 million back then, right? Do you know actually 1 million back then could actually afford me a better resale condo that probably more than one bedder. Probably I can get a two bedder rather than a one bedder, and I can immediately rent it out. So you don't have to be too hasty to make decisions, especially right now. Actually, it's better for buyers market because there are more supply right now, and you have plenty of choices. Can everybody type C in the chat? Okay, C stands for choices. So really go and shop for the choices that work for you and don't buy based on FOMO. So I think one of the mistakes I made was I really FOMO. Everybody was saying that property price will go. Then I was like, oh my God, yeah, I also want to diversify, right? At that time, because I already had quite a lot of money in the stock portfolio. I thought, oh, why don't I take out some to diversify? But end up I diversify. Okay, this is really one of the the biggest mistake. And of course, having said that, okay, um, the property prices in general are still going up. So this is the latest statistics that I managed to find online. Later on, when I bring up Joe and Sarah, right, they are very experienced property investors. They will be able to share with you more insights and more data. But based on these quick glance, you can also see that actually in general, property prices in Singapore have been steadily climbing. However, very importantly is it doesn't mean that all projects are going to climb because certain projects, if you did not choose carefully, it could hurt you, right? For example, my momentum pick was not a good pick, especially my one beta was not a good pick. So right now, despite the fact that other property prices are in general increasing, I'm actually suffering a downward trend, right? So you need to really select. Can everybody type S in the chat? Okay, essence of selection, right? You want to select the best that suits your objective, suits your budget, and of course also have to be a good property for long-term holding as well, right? So coming back to the price that I talk about, right? Price is what you pay. And I did not check how much price did I pay extra as compared to other property buyers who bought the same project. So remember recently, the January transaction, the person who sold away his or her one beta, they sold it at about 1777, right? So that was the per square foot that they managed to sell. So that means, okay, actually he actually made a profit. How do you know? Okay, even though it's a tiny fraction of profit, he still made $8,000. Okay, so that means actually he purchased this property less than 1777. So what you could have done, or what I could have done is, at that time when I bought my new launch, I should have at least checked how much is the average purchase price that people already bought for the room type that I was about to purchase, which was one beta, right? But I did not check. I just assumed that the prices are all good. And I assumed that because it's new launch, there's discount, right? So what happened was, because I bought it at 1,009, which is way higher than the price that this person sell. And that's why right now, if I were to sell, I wouldn't be making $8,000. I'm actually suffering almost 100K worth of losses. So can everybody type P in the chat? Okay, P stands for price. So if you were to decide to buy any property, right? Doesn't matter whether it's new launch, whatsoever. Okay, especially new launch, I think, because everybody tend to buy new launch on a more like FOMO kind of emotions because everybody's bidding, blah, 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 blah. And then like the property developer will say, oh, sold out one day, 75% sold out. Then it's like, oh my God, then I want to buy, right? And because of that, you kind of forget that you should have checked how much did your previous purchaser bought in general. So if you know that you bought a lot more expensive, in this case, it's actually quite like at least $100 plus more expensive than this, actually my margin of safety is a lot less. So when I were to sell, I wouldn't be able to compete with all these people who bought it at this price, right? So really, like Buffett said, price is what you pay, value is what you get. Is so true. How many of you agree? If you agree, you can type A in the chat. Right, so I want you to really sink it in because I don't want you to lose money. I really want you to do the right thing from the very beginning. But fortunately, okay, despite the fact that it wasn't a very good decision, there's always a silver lining behind every single situation that you face, right? So what was my silver lining was, okay, my rental income was decent. Okay, it was actually pretty good for the last 2.5 years. I think I was super fortunate to have a very great, amazing tenant. And at the same time, the tenant has been paying me very good yield, like rental every single month, right? So basically, every month I collected about $3,800, okay, exactly $3,800 every single month for the last 2.5 years. And my mortgage is less than this, right? Plus all the property tax, plus all the like deducting all the agent commissions I need to give because you need to give out for people who help you to rent out your house. You need to give out to your property maintenance for the condo management. So despite giving out all this, I managed to have $300 cash flow every single month. How many of you think that this is not bad? Okay, if you think it's not bad, can you type NB in the chat? Okay, NB stands for not bad. So, which that's the silver lining, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's more like right now this stock is losing me money, but at least I get to collect dividends, which is more consistent than the stock price in this case, right? So that was a silver lining for me. But of course, before I did a major shift in terms of this decision, my mortgage plus all the expenses was more than my rent. Okay, so at that time I was losing money. But what happened was eventually I asked Ethan for help as well. Okay, so Ethan is another speaker that I'll be inviting on to help you to optimize your cash flow later on in case you are looking for refinance and all this. So basically, after I refinance, I managed to squeeze out better cash flow every single month with my property. So that was my silver lining. But imagine if I have done the proper research from the very beginning rather than just jumping to the gun, buying whatever things that agent recommend me to buy. I think today will be a very different story that I wouldn't be stuck with my current portfolio, which is like this 100K potential loss. I wouldn't be stuck. And at the same time, I think I will also should be having some decent property gains and some cash flow coming along the way while I rent out my property for the last 2.5 years. But of course, whatever things has been done can't be undone. So that's why today, I'm still holding on to this property. And my own self, I didn't want to lose that money. And that's why I don't intend to sell away my property so fast, at least not in the next 1 year. Okay, I still want to collect some rental income because the rental yield is still decent. And at the same time, I want to observe how the property price might transform in the next, I don't know, 1 to 2 years before making the final decision whether to sell or not. Right. So right now, like I said, I'm just holding on to a money losing dividend stock, but that still pays me dividend for now. Okay. But if I can turn back time, I wouldn't be buying this property in the first place because after Joe and Sarah, they really helped me to analyze how this one beta was actually not a good decision. Then I had a lot of aha moment for myself. Like I wasn't informed that about the competition that amount of one betas that Momentum Park has. I wasn't aware of it. And I also wasn't aware that there's a lot of competition also coming up, not just from Momentum Park, but other projects around the area that is literally driving down the whole entire market price. So, and on top of that, of course, Joe and Sarah also suggest me what I can do later on should I decide to optimize my portfolio better. And that's why when they were sharing with me the insights, they were analyzing actually different projects that I could potentially be looking at in the next few years. I was very amazed by how analytical the decision is, right? It's not an emotion, no kind of choice. It's not based on FOMO, but really based on proper research. Can everybody type research, right? So that is why tonight I want to invite Joe and Sarah here to come in and share with you what kind of research thought process that you should be going through before making any form of decision, right? In this case, it's property decision, right? But the same research process actually should be applied in anything that you decide to buy, be it is it a stocks, an ETF, or whatever investment, right? So that is why, without further ado, okay, I also want to pass the time to Joy and Sarah because they have prepared a lot of information, insightful research to come and share with you. And along the way, if you have any questions, feel free to just leave it in the chat. Then I will be able to facilitate as well to ask Joe and Sarah questions as you have some questions for them as well. Okay, so can everybody type CCC, clap, clap, clap for Joe and Sarah? And they have been actually inside the property game for over 10 years. They actually make very decent profits for their own property investing journey. And at the same time, they are also very, very good researchers and agents themselves who I really felt that they are very different from many agents that I personally dealt with before. And they really have the heart to help people, right? That's at least how I'm personally experiencing when they are reviewing my portfolio. So I'm very, very grateful to have them today to come and share with you. And hopefully that will also enlighten you how you can become a better property investor as well. So thank you so much, Joe and Sarah. And yes, I think there are already some questions coming in later on. As Joe and Sarah continue to share, okay, we will be able to answer some questions as well. Hi, Joe. Hi, Sarah. Are you able to hear us?
Hello, hello, Chloe. Thank you, thank you. Can everybody hear us? Is our audio
Yes.
video okay? Okay, good, good, good. So Ryan's question: do property developers, agents disclose average selling price? So Ryan, before or after? Before or after the opening day? Usually they don't disclose. They only disclose very, very, very close to the opening day. All right. Then after, of course, after the opening weekend, they don't have to disclose lah. The news will disclose for them. Okay, but that one is also, I mean, especially for very popular projects like Penrith near your Queenstown, right? I always get confused between Queenstown and Commonwealth. That area, after that, the news will come out, or average price is how much, how many percent. So always like that, lah. Okay, but I must tell you all something. This one, fellow agents will hate me for saying this. Okay, one thing that they will never disclose is sometimes how greedy the developers are during the opening few days. We have seen for ourselves, I wouldn't say the project, we have seen for ourselves, in one day, developer will up the price three, four times easily. Easily. So Joey, thanks for your question. For losing one bidder, is it wise to cut loss and buy? So it's very difficult. It's not like stocks, Stocks maybe you lose a few hundred, a few $1,000s, and okay, Lord, take the loss, cry for a while, and then go to a better one, and then hey, okay, let's build from there. But you see, a property is a big purchase. A lot of times it's okay, we have to go and calculate the finances. Hey, if you sell, what are the fees you have to pay? What's the cash you have to take back? Will you be taking back any cash? Will you have to, okay, assuming everybody is Singaporean here, do you have to, if you sell at a loss, do you have to top up your CPF account? So that means you are like a bit like putting in money to sell it. Are you okay with that? So because of all these factors, it's not so straightforward, especially with the emotions involved. It's not so easy for us to say yes, no. All right. But of course, what we always do for our clients is we walk through with them one by one. Okay, yes, you do this. If you do this, you'll be able to do this. So I mean, the most recent one was we also navigated through help someone to navigate through a loss-making project. At first, very painful, wow, loss making, loss making, loss making. Then I have to ask them, hey, what's your reason for selling? Oh, I want to get back the cash. I want to just reset. So after going through their monthly expenditure, all these things, income, all these things, then I just told them one word. Hey, you take the loss now. Do you know that it does not impact your day-to-day life at all? Zero impact. Okay, because of the rental, this owner collected, it's kind of offset all those losses. And you sell, yes, on paper you see a painful loss, but then after that, you don't have to pay mortgage, you don't have to worry about every 1, 2, 3 years, wow, when is the next tenant, profile good or not, will mess up my place or not. These are the very common things that landlords are very, very worried about. Okay, so maybe okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think since we asked that question, maybe we can just start the ball rolling by asking the audience, right? What do you think are the attributes of a winning property?
Ah,
So if you were to do up a checklist, correct? Right? Let's say you are in Chloe's shoes, or let's say you are looking to buy a new property, right? What do you think will be the attributes of a winning property? Okay, so let's get the ball rolling. Okay.
Location.
Okay, so location, that's one of them.
Can you all try to be more specific? What is a good location?
Yeah. Okay.
So schools near
MRT,
MRT.
low entry price.
Okay.
Yeah, MRT, capital appreciation.
Wow, good. I like this.
Okay, Bernard says should not buy a one bedder. Okay.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Okay. So we also want to share a case study where we helped a client last year buy one bedder. So far, according to the transactions, she has made 10% already. But of course, I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody have. Can everybody type NCB? Not vulgarity, no crystal ball. Okay, no crystal ball. Yeah, you really don't have. But so we need to do the research to really set the context correct and see that, hey, these are the points that we cover already. Okay, we choose this property, this area because of this whatever location, because there might be a risk of this, but okay, hopefully whatever offset, okay, whether it's demand, supply, whatever, lah, huh? Okay, so let me share. So this is what you all always say lah. In fact, not you all lah. Okay, come out already. Everybody tell me this must be near MRT within 1 km to good school, especially good school. Then what is a good school? Huh? So of course we have our ways to find out whether the school is good or not. So I mean, I'm a very numbers person. I very in Singlish we say in gym. Okay. I will go and download the numbers, the vacancy and applications of all the primary schools for 2025. Then I go divide, I go and see which school has the highest. Then I will rank it lor. I will rank it. Oh, okay. So these are the I'll just share a bit. Okay, so I spent almost the whole of last year trying to come up with a good FH is freehold leasehold or a good checklist. Okay, then after spending 1 whole year, you all know what I did with the checklist? You all know? Okay, I throw away. I totally throw away. Yeah, Ryan, how you know? I totally throw away because wow, I realized a few things. Yeah, some when I tried the back test, some of the properties that score very well on this checklist actually don't perform well. And then some don't do so well. Actually, it do well. It's not supposed to have a high score. Not supposed to do well. Did quite well leh. Then I'm like, wow, wow, jialat. Okay, so now we have our own standard lah. Okay, so a lot of you all watch YouTube lah, all these things. So maybe I ask lah, hey, can anybody tell me the project at the top is doing better or the bottom? So I mean it's a catch lah. So by right, it should be the top lah. Wow, you make 1.1 something million. Okay, wow, make 1.2 something. So, but of course, let me show you the context. If I put the holding period beside, actually it's very clear. Actually, this one, the bottom one, far outperform the top ones. And you can see also this is not a big unit compared to the top two. This is only probably 2-bedder or I would say 2-bedder lah. Okay. So this is how we see. And for now, in order, because I also realized something. If we cannot set a very good goal post to see whether this project is doing well or not, then we also don't know a lot of things. Okay. So right now, I actually again I'm not normal. Okay, I really try to look through all the transactions as much as I can to actually compare to get the median annualized ROI for the project. Okay, so anything to me right now of course, anything above 2.5% per year is good because beat our OA Okay, but again, things can so far I've not finished the whole of Singapore yet. It will take some time, but I finished the east side. So far, the median annualized return for everything, don't count the age, everything is around 3.5% per year, 3 to 3.5. Okay. So for today case study, okay, let's just use you all say okay, near MRT station, which is good Then these two also near I think red swastika, if I'm not wrong. Okay, later I pull up so before I continue, anybody staying here or not, or holding any property here or not? Anybody?
Urban Vista and Optima near Tanah Merah, right?
It's actually just in front of Tanah Merah MRT station. Okay, so by right, okay, it should both of these should do very well And if we run through a conventional property checklist, this is the score. Okay, Urban Vista actually 4.6. Typo, sorry, 4.6 stars out of 5. Okay, Optima only 3.8. So where did it lose? Urban Vista is slightly newer, all these things, and project more number of units in the project. They say got school effect, got rental demand, okay, all these things okay. So by right, based on this Urban Vista should outperform Optima which is the thing that I run into So I really go and collate. Okay, I really go and collate. This is just part of it because I'm sorry, I'm not able to show every single thing. If not you all no need to go and sleep tonight already Okay, so based on this, from the first transaction to now, you see Optima actually making 4% per year. Okay, Urban Vista only 0.5% per year. Okay, all right. Then,
Okay, Joe, I have a question. So
ah,
4% versus the median ROI 5.6%, what's the difference?
okay, so this one, again, I need to do some cleanup. That's why you see a C here. So why the cleanup? Okay, I don't know whether you heard, if you heard this, all these things before, you type like yes. Okay, there was a period of time, I don't know whether you hear this before. People can just pay a small sum of money to get the option to purchase the OTP, right? And then they don't even have to exercise the OTP, after a few days, a few months, or even a few weeks, they can sell this OTP to another person and make quite good money. Have or not? Have you heard these stories or not? Yes?
Flipping property, is it? Like flipping the
It's
contract?
not even flipping the property itself. It's just flipping the OTP.
Flipping options.
Flipping options, really flipping option. Like sell call option. Yeah,
Yes.
It's
buying call option.
buying call option.
Basically, you're buying a call option and you're selling it.
Correct. Yeah. So because of this, you can see actually Optima and Urban Vista. Okay. One very important thing happened. By 2013, our Singapore government came in to stop all these things by introducing this thing called total debt servicing ratio, TDSR. Okay, with this thing in, all those speculators who are holding like five option to purchase, 7, 10, 15, 20, I don't know lah. All these are suddenly jialat, shit. Because they realize that they can, once this law come in, their income cannot sustain the loans. So they have to fire sale, they have to sell. Okay. So this was what happened. Okay, so I have to do the cleanup because some of these are very, I think, I don't know whether I put it in or not. Some of these you just sell off your property in like 30, 40 days, you make a few 100,000, your annualized return can be more than 1,000%, which is going to skew all the numbers totally off. So that's why I have to do a cleanup. So after deleting all these very short-term holding, okay, this is the true ROI okay, on the extreme right. Okay.
So that means after deleting all those skewed cases for Optima, actually annualized return has been 4% for the last, since 2012 all the way until now, it's almost like 14 years. For the last 14 years, right? Every year about 4%. While for Urban Vista is only 0.5%, which is a lot lower than the 2.5% OA as well.
Yep. So, and what are the reasons, okay? What are the reasons why? So to us, to me, we also cannot, how come the score, what are the main reasons behind such a low performance beyond the score? So actually, there are a few things. So we really go in and look at a few things. So Urban Vista, anybody has an idea how come this Urban Vista doing so badly?
Does anyone have you heard of Urban Vista before? If you have, can you type UV in the chat? Anyone heard of?
Yeah, Bernard is right. Floor plan is quite horrible. Okay, because there are a lot of loft units. Loft units. Okay, that means you can put a bed above your living room, above the kitchen, and then you have to climb the stairs up. Yeah, you are buying airspace, Ryan. You are totally right. And this is the actual performance. You see, out of 306 transactions so far from day one till now, okay, only 2 transactions make more than 2.5% per year. Okay, 221 out of 306 are actually profitable, but less than 2.5% per year, and actually 83 out of 306 actually lose money. So to me, with this, also maybe to answer Joey, okay, if you see this, I think it's a very clear sign. It's a good time to just exit. Okay, based on data alone, without calculating your finances, all these things, very clear already, lor. You want to hold for how long, and really you want to try to be number 3 here. I don't know how long you have to wait, really. Okay, then of course the second one is when they launched, it was right at the peak, okay, 2013. So quite unlucky, launch, the buyers buy already, then straight away government come in, slap everybody with the TDS, then all the speculators run away, the price drop. Okay, you see price drop, then quickly rebounded, okay, And then, but because of the bad layout, all these things, it never really went up until 2020. Okay. And then, but even now, you see, start to taper again. All right. And of course, when they launch also, another unlucky thing lah. Okay. 2013, upcoming, the number of new units coming in it was a record high. For the next few years, the number of new units expected to come in, all these are private non-landed, okay, units expected to be very high. So a lot more competition. Okay, so this was the TDSR law introduced in June 2013. So okay, no over leveraging, sustainable buying, no speculation. Okay, all right. So this was something. Okay, and this was the one that I was trying to show you. Okay, show everyone here. Okay, you can see this wow.
That's a skewed data, right? The skewed data.
This is the skewed data exactly. You hold for 43, 46 days. Wow, make 688,000
Wow,
Wow.
crazy.
This one is really macam I don't know, you got a few of these OTP, you really strike Toto. Oh.
Better than Toto. Those are the days,
really.
but no more.
Yeah, no more already. So with this, that's why I had to, look through a lot of things, and then all this short holding period I have to delete. If not, more than 1,000 is going to make the data inaccurate. Okay. So then, of course, Optima. What went well? Actually, of course, again, it's the layout. Okay. Family friendly, again, like what some of you are saying, even though it is not ideal, okay, or with all the planter bay window, you see, even with all these things, usually people don't like because it's a waste of space. But because you got a urban vista beside you, suddenly this looks a little bit more attractive. Okay, all right. Some more with dedicated utility yard spaces, which people are very, very which appeals to people a lot, especially for families. And of course, they launched it at a good time, just after the 2008 global financial crisis. Okay, when it started to go up. Of course, you see, when TDSR hit, even Optima was not let off lah. So they start to come down. But after this period, like these 3 years where the speculators all went out, okay, you can see the prices start to go up again. All right. Okay. And so some you may be wondering, if back then there was a record number of new supply, today what are we looking at? So today I would say it's nowhere near the near 30,000 new supply. It's a lot more muted right now. I would say muted is a lot more, it's definitely not so much lah. And I know Minister Chi is really trying to increase this number. Okay. All right. Maybe I want to ask everyone here. Do you think there's a chance of going into 30,000 per year? Anybody?
So you mean the number of houses?
Number of new houses. Number of new houses. Got chance or not? Don't know. Okay. I would say actually, trick question. I also don't know. But the question is not to predict whether yes or no. The real question is, if yes, where are these sources coming from? Right now, all these are government land sales. That means government sell them the empty land, most of it lah. Okay, do we have so much empty land to sell to the developers? All right, yeah, correct. Government need to keep the demand, okay, and supply to manage the property prices, correct. Okay, GIS will not be pushed up this year, so actually we don't know. But to me, and in fact, all the agents already start to know this already. Singapore, I'm sorry, I don't think GLS can continue forever. So if one day our GLS no more already, where is the new supply going to come from? En bloc, correct. So with en bloc, definitely the prices will go up. Okay, but when will it happen? Nobody will know. Okay, because why? You are selling the empty land now. The developers just come in, start building, full stop. Okay, Keppel and Old Turf Club, you're right. However, when we go for en bloc, we need to pay the residents, we need to demolish and then rebuild. All these things is going to cost money, which will in turn definitely push up the prices. Okay? And this is something that the government also knows, and they are not too worried about it. Okay? All right. So maybe now Sarah will take over and she will just run through a actual case study how we actually help a client who only has enough budget for one bedder.
Yeah, I think after listening to crime stories, some people may think, wow, cannot buy one bedder lah. But then what about our client? You see this client, the budget only less than
the
1
client
million.
is the one with
the client is the one with the cute
emoticon,
okay?
not the other one. The other one is our daughter.
Yeah, so imagine, but some of you may be in her shoes, right? Like your budget is only less than 1 million, and then you may be thinking, oh my budget can only afford a 1 bedroom. Does it mean that I should not even buy a property at all? Okay, so this client came to us, and this was her budget. She wanted something for own stay. She wanted to live in the District 19 area, which is the Hougang, Sengkang area, Bangkok area. So what she did, which is quite typical of most clients, they will first go through a property checklist, right? To shortlist some of the properties that they like, which will be a good location, near good school, so on and so forth. Okay, so just to share with you, so initially, right, this was our client shortlist. Okay, so she shortlisted 9 properties in D19 based on all those criteria that you all mentioned. Okay, like proper good location, okay, near good school, so on and so forth. Okay. Then when we saw her pick, actually the first thing that we actually went to go and do is to go and find out what is the ROI, what's the annualized growth. Okay, remember, because if it's not even growing as fast as CPF, then we might as well just put the money in CPF, right? Okay, so after doing this, right, then we realized that there are some, right, okay, based on this, right, maybe y'all can tell me, which ones will you eliminate immediately?
Affinity.
Affinity, right? Oh my goodness, it's actually only 1.24%, right? And then D13, okay, definitely out, okay? And at that point in time, of course, we also did our own research, and we had already a property that we wanted to share with our client, and this one had an annualized growth of 4.87%. Okay. Okay, then second thing that we did that goes beyond the property checklist is we want to look out for the competition, right? How many one bedders are there within 1 km? Because in the event that this buyer, right, decides to get married and want to expand the family, right, then she needs to exit her one bedder. So she must make sure that she's able to exit. So the next thing we did was to actually go and find out for all her short list, how many one bedders were within 1 km. So you can see in her second short list, right, she removed some of those with very bad ROI already. Okay, so based on this, right, I think quite immediately, right, which other property will you eliminate?
Wow, Riverfront and Minton.
Yeah, okay, all these have very, very high competition. So it will be very, very hard for her to exit. Okay. So and then we continued to share with this client that okay, our D19 pick only has 333 other one bedders.
Within 1 km.
Within 1 km. Okay. So then based on this, then after that, only at the very last part, then we put in all the typical property checklist things. So like is it near amenity? So we gave us for each one we give a score of 0 to 1 to 5, right? 5 being very good, 1 being not good. Okay, so okay, so amenities, transport, growth trend, pricing, the age, okay, the supply, okay, the supply of the area, and then also what's the total score. Okay, so you can see that in this third short list, you already eliminated affinity. Affinity is still there. Okay, Florence is still there. Okay, and then you can Riverfront is still there. You can see that, right? Like for Riverfront, you can see that even though the score is 20, but remember, they had a lot of competition in terms of one bedder. So that is the reason why we cannot just look at all these attributes, right? We have to go beyond this typical property checklist to make our decisions. Okay, so eventually, right, our D19 pick based on all these is a score of 27, right? And there was an additional bonus also. This pick that we recommended the client actually is 150,000 cheaper than the highest scored property, which is Sengkang Grand 26.
Basically, she went to view Sengkang Grand. She was like, wow, wow, wow. Actually, I also wow lah. It's like, wow, it's quite nice, the shopping center, wow, go up and down. Wow, you got bus interchange, you got MRT below. I also wow lah. To be after, okay, I also wow during the viewing lah. But after the viewing, I said, hey, okay, back to reality.
Yeah.
Wow is wow over there. Now we look at the proper numbers again. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the end, okay, she decided to go ahead with our pick, and we decided to secure the OTP. And then actually, I think I cannot see. Okay, this was a bad photo. Actually, right, this property that she got, even though it's not like like Sengkang Grand, right? Just like immediately beside Sengkang Grand Mall. But actually, this one, right? She could actually see MBS and the Singapore Flyer. Okay, maybe I should go and
Wow,
find a
not
night scene and then
bad.
share. Yeah, it's actually quite nice. Yeah, so she was very happy, and she managed to secure this property, right, with very healthy supply, right, not overwhelming like competition from other one bidders, right, 150K savings, right, with a good median ROI growth. Yeah, so to us, we felt that this was something that was suitable for our client, right? So then we went ahead to help her to secure the option to purchase, and yeah, today she's living there now.
Jewel,
And
yes.
it's Jewel, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's Jewel, yeah. So okay, so this was in 2025, right?
Yeah, last year.
Yes, in 2025. Okay, so 1 year later, okay, you want to guess not? 1 year later, do you think Jewel, this one, did better, or Sengkang Grand, the one with 26 points, did better? You want to guess? Because this one based on property checklist actually is quite the same, right? Let's see,
If you guys think it's Sengkang Grand type S, if you think it's Jewel type J, okay? So Jewel is Joe and Sarah's pick after very in-depth analysis, all right? Then Sengkang Grand is based on the passing property checklist lah. Okay, so which one do you think make more money after 1 year?
think they don't dare to guess. They think it's some trick question. Okay, so anyways, okay, just show you all, okay, because the data cannot lie. Okay, so this is actually Sengkang Grand Residences, the one in orange. Okay, so anyway, we just delete it. I mean, since you already know already, so I delete this. Okay, so we remove the, okay, so our D19 pick is actually Jewel. Okay, so you can see Jewel from the time she bought 2025 till now, right, there was a 10% growth, right, whereas Sengkang Grand actually pretty much stayed stagnant. Yeah, so I think to this client, right, I think we have done a good job. Yeah, and we are very happy lah. Okay, that she has secured a property, and it is a property that is a growing asset for her as well. Okay. Yeah, so actually with this, right, we just want to share that it's very important to morph beyond property checklist, because there are so many things to look out for when it comes to the property. And actually, right, there is no one size fits all checklist. There isn't. Really, it really depends. Okay, so this is our morph framework. It really depends on what's your motivation for getting the property. That's the mindset. It depends on what is your objective. Right, then from there, then we will cater the research accordingly, right, to help you to meet the objectives and motivations, right? And then also one thing we need to consider is, right, it's very important that you buy a property where you are able to hold, because you don't want to sell the property at the wrong time. Okay, and I think this is something that at least Chloe has, right? It's a bullet that she has. At least she's able to hold, right, to continue to earn the rental income, so that so that she can reduce the 100K loss, right? And then with that, right, then if you are able to, right, have all these things in play, then, right, you have the holding power, and then you can actually morph your assets. Okay, so, right, for those of you who find our way of research something that's beneficial to you, right, we will be happy to do a one-to-one complimentary property consultation with you, which Chloe will share more details with you at the end of this session, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
How many of you felt like the way that Joe and Sarah they analyze is very in-depth and so data-driven that you don't see most agents out there do? Okay, if you felt so, can you type me in the chat that they really go through when they analyze the project for me? I'm like, oh my gosh, you really like spend so much effort to like individual project, individual year. What is the transaction record? I'm like, there's so much time and effort being spent, but Joe and Sarah really just do it because they just want to make sure every decision that they recommend, all right, they go through together with clients are backed by proper research process rather than just gut feel or like, wow, the hype or whatever. So that's why I really felt like there's so much heart that they put in. And that's why I'm very happy to have them here to at least go through with you the thought process that you should be going through before deciding what you need to do next. Yeah, learn something new. Thank you so much, Ryan. All right. So for those who are keen to, if let's say if you are going through your property revamping journey, it could be you want to buy your next property, and it could be you already have it or you don't have it right now, but you just want to go through this thought process. Having Joe and Sarah to go through this together with you, I think it's a very good time to consider like applying. Just anyway, it's free. At least let them know your objective and see whether does it make sense for you to actually make any investment decision right now in your property journey. Or if you are thinking about selling and upgrading, then I think that's even more important, because when you do the right thing, I wish a few years ago when I do this, Joe and Zara was already there to guide me through, but unfortunately at that time, no. Okay, but for my next property purchase journey, I would definitely consult them because I really love how they do things. Yeah, so hopefully you guys gain some insights from that. Okay, how many of you felt that it was insightful from Joe and Sarah's sharing? If that's insightful for you, can type I in the chat. All right. So thank you. Okay, in the meantime, maybe I can also get Joe and Sarah just put the link inside the chat as well. So for those who just want to click on it, then that's the things that you will be filling up. But basically, there will be a few things that you need to answer, and that's it. Okay, it's a very simple form. Okay, so Sarah already put that in. I'm just going to click open and show you how it actually looks like when you click on this. Okay, so it will be firstly it's a bit.ly link. You just continue. Okay, continue to destination. And all you have to do is make sure you fill up your personal details, your contact number, your email address, and currently what is your property status, right? Are you a HDB owner, private property owner, or you don't have anyone, any house right now, just add that in. And then after that, what is the key reason of you thinking about, is it upgrading, or you want to buy for investment? So at that time, I bought that property mainly for investment. Okay, but I did not go through this process. Okay, and now, okay, very importantly is what are some of the key must-have criteria so that Joe and Sarah can help you to really streamline according to your ideals right now. But of course, during the process of going through the consultation with you, they will be able to share with you the insights that are not just based on the criteria, but the research and the data they have personally put in a lot of effort together. Right. And last but not least, if you have any like questions for them, you feel free to just type it here so that they can have a better understanding about your situation, right, before jumping on to this consultation with you, right? So preferred date and all this, then that's how Joe and Sarah will be able to get in touch with you. Okay, very simple. Okay, so use later on after this, feel free to use like just 5 minutes of time to fill up the form if you are interested in buying or upgrading your next property. Okay, so now further on, okay, we still have more things to cover because like I said, right, if you are already having a property like I do, right, like I mentioned, there are ways for you to optimize your cash flow better. So like I mentioned, right, the silver lining for my situation is I managed to have positive cash flow every single month owning this current property, right? So just to let you know, it wasn't like that before that. Okay, before that, I was actually facing some losses every single month, even in my cash flow as well, right? Because you can see, I basically have my own expense tracker every single month. So I diligently put in all my expenses so that I know, oh, roughly how much am I spending every month, right? So you can see that was back in 2023, October. My mortgage back then was 3,000, right? And then in November, because as I start to collect key, the amount will increase. Then in November, it becomes 3,001. And the shocking thing is, after the full force kick in, right? January 2024, it become 3,007. I'm like, wow, suddenly I felt a lot of cash flow being bleed out every month. Not to mention that I still have to pay for property maintenance fee. You can see like there's condo management fees, there's broadband fees, there's like agent fees whatsoever, right? Because that was when I start to rent out. So despite the fact that I rent out, it's still a negative because remember I rent out 3,008. My mortgage is already 3,008. So I haven't included all these additional fees I need to pay. So that was still a negative return for me, which was, believe it or not, I think at the end of the day, if it's negative, right, you will feel a little bit of stress, right? So that was when I asked Ethan for help, who is actually my friend for a very long time as well. I say, Eden, right, like, can you help me to optimize my cash flow better? So that's why after that, right, when he helped me to refinance, my mortgage reduced to 2007, right? Even like, for example, February this year, my mortgage is 2007. So with all these additional tax whatsoever add in, my cash flow is still positive, right? That's how the power of refinancing comes in. If you haven't refinanced your property, especially with the interest rate actually has been coming down in the last 1.5 years, it's time to really think about how can you use the current lower interest rate to refinance your property so that you can actually squeeze out more cash flow. So instead of paying a lot every single month, right now you reduce, and then now you have additional cash. You can use this cash. Either you can invest. Okay, for me, I love to invest, so I will put inside the stock market to grow it further. Or simply you can use the additional cash flow to pay for your other expenses, right? Like grocery, or now it's being covered by the chunk of savings that you have from your mortgage, right? So that is the power of refinancing. If you understand, can you type R in the chat? Okay, R stands for refinancing, right? So that is why right now, okay, yeah, especially right now, stocks are dropping, right? You have more cash, best time to buy more. Okay, but the important question is how do you squeeze out more cash? If your budget is already maxed out, then refinancing could be a very good solution. And that's why right now, okay, I want to invite Ethan, who helps me to refinance my property some years ago, okay, 2.5 years ago. And even until today, I still enjoy the positive results because of this, right? So he has a lot of things that he wants to come and share with you about the interest rate movement, what he is currently looking at for helping his clients to refinance better. So this is not the first time I'm inviting Eden. A lot of you guys probably have already know him through my previous sharing. So can everybody type CCC in the chat? Okay, CCC type. Clap, clap, clap for Eden. Okay, so welcome, Ethan. Thanks for being here. Okay, I'm just going to pin you here. There you go.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me here, Chloe. How are you all doing this evening?
Eden is as handsome as always.
Making me blush. Thank you, Chloe. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to share screen?
Okay, so before that, right, I was looking at you sharing the Buffett quote. Myself, I have one as well. Buffett also say, if you don't make money or you sleep, you're gonna work until you die. It's a little bit tobale, it's a little bit but my main point is I want to be able to share with you guys the power of your mortgage, the power of cash flow, the power of making money while you sleep. See, what I want to do is introduce you guys to mortgage. Okay, so your mortgage over here, right? I know it needs no introduction. Most of us have it, but it's actually a superpower. Okay, so your mortgage, your rates right now are lesser than 2%, which is lower than inflation. So you think about it, it will be making you money while you sleep. And the thing is, Chloe, just now you were saying your mortgage, you are getting 300 cash flow, correct? So this 300 cash flow is just for minus your mortgage, minus your
Interest.
MCS fee.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
do you guys know, right? When you pay for your mortgage, your principal goes down. Every single month when you pay for your mortgage, right? One second, this one seems to not move. Okay,
Because the mortgage is made up of principal plus interest. So every single month as I pay out both at the same time.
Yeah, so 1 second, the PowerPoint is crashing. So wait, let me restart the program. Okay. So
I think your PowerPoint is getting too excited. That's why it jammed the moment it needs to be presented.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me just relaunch it. And there we go. Control I switch. Swap view. Okay. Share. There we go. Are you able to see this?
Oh yeah, yes.
Okay, so every single month when you pay for your mortgage, right, your mortgage also pays down your principal. And after paying down your principal over the course of your loan tenure, right, you will eventually clear off your outstanding loan and then the property becomes yours. This is when, if you rent out, right, the entire rent will then go to your own pocket. Okay, so as a home loan, you can borrow up to 75% of your home value, and we'll be able to choose between fixed rate or floating rate. Okay, and over here, this is the only loan, even if you're borrowing from a bank, you can use CPF OA to pay down. Okay, so to share with you guys a little bit about my company, we are Unbeatable Mortgage. We specialize in bank loans in Singapore. We've got more than half a decade of experience. and we are partnered with all the banks in Singapore. Our objective is to help you save as much money as humanly possible and to try to demystify any numbers that you're not sure about, to be able to explain things in depth, to be able to help you guys save as much money as possible. Okay, so we only do two things and we do it very well. We refinance and we help you apply for new loans. When we are refinancing, we have access to 10 banks, which will give us better interest rates. We'll be able to help you secure different terms. For example, if Chloe is looking to sell, right, I think getting a waiver of fees upon sale or timing the sale will be very important. And doing so, right, you'll be able to save like 1.5% a breakage fee if you were to not have these terms instead. So the next thing you want to know is that we can also help you plan your exit because we can help you apply for a loan. By doing that, we already know roughly how much you'll be able to buy in, how much you'll be able to buy for your next property. So, for example, if your current property is when you sell it, you can only buy something that is quite similar. Maybe the idea is to hold on to the property first, because when you sell your property and when you buy again, right, there is pretty huge transaction fees, and sometimes you might want to move from like one bedder to three bedder instead of like one bedder to two bedder then three bedder, and it depends on your budget also lah. Okay, so why us? Because a lot of people like us, that's one, but more importantly, right, we believe in transparency. We believe in helping you save money even though we don't profit. The thing is, sometimes the advice is something like, hey, maybe all you got to do is reprice. And we do have that as our option. And the thing is, one thing we believe in telling you to reprice is because in the future, when you want to do a refinance, maybe we'll be able to get you better rates. So we're quite transparent about whether if it's time to reprice or refinance, we'll be able to help. So I'm also a guy that likes framework lah. And in here, right, we've got my framework in Unbeatable, which is to number one, look at your property strategy, see what you plan to want to have. So depending on where you want to go, depending on what kind of property you want to eventually own, how you want to retire, then we will be able to formulate a plan. And that is very different from everybody. For example, some people can have a minimalistic lifestyle. They like the property to be fully paid, go HDB, don't owe so much money. That is one way to do it. And there is also the maximalist, which I think me and Chloe a little bit are. We don't mind having $1 million loan if we have $2 million worth of property. And the next thing we want to talk about is the structure. Sometimes when you're buying a property, right, the structure is super important. Having the right structure can save you tens of thousands of dollars, and these is quite important. These two are very important, but very individualistic. So in today's talk, right, I think I'll be focusing more on explaining how to choose rates. We'll talk about the property structure and property strategy and structure on our one-to-one consultations, but I will glance through them a little bit. Okay. So strategy is about getting there as efficient as possible and to make sure that your next step is catered towards what you want to do. Okay. Big picture kind of situation, right? You want to probably buy properties that are slightly younger. The reason why is, right, when you buy older properties, the property 39 years old, which means they are left with 60 years, right? You are still able to get the maximum loan tenure. The maximum loan tenure of 30 years. And for somebody, right, that can buy at 30 years, they can borrow $1 million. When this number goes lower, right, for the same income, they are able to borrow lesser. And as they borrow lesser, they will not be able to afford your property, which then your property price may decrease because your buyer pool decrease. Okay, so if the property is left with 50 years, which means 49 years old already, the people can only borrow 700, and the buyer can only borrow 788 instead of $1 million. And when it's 10 more years later, the person can only borrow 472. This means their outlay is going to be significantly more. So one of the important things is to make sure that the property is not too old. But of course, there are en bloc strategies and everything, which is why strategy is a bit more catered to the individual lah. Okay, but usually what I like to do is also help people lower their transaction cost by telling you, okay, every time you sell your property and to buy your property, right, there are very, very strong transaction costs. Like your stamp duty is going to cost you 3 to 6% of your property already. Your agent fee probably about 2%, conveyancing about $2,000. Then you have to move there, then the renovation there, and all the la la cha cha, all of them, they add up. So sometimes the idea, right, is maybe you don't want to sell your property yet. Maybe you want to accumulate assets so that you'll be able to jump into the next level. So for example, if Chloe were to sell her one bedder, would she be able to go to a three bedder, or will she want to go to a two bedder? So depends on everybody, depends on how you earn, how much you, and when do you intend to stop working. All of this comes into consideration, and usually what I do is I help my clients make heads or tails on this lah, like what to do. And one of the moves we can do is to gear up. And to gear up, guys, is to be able to to be able to take out money from your property at mortgage rates. So mortgage rates are lesser than inflation. So if you are able to borrow that and reinvest it and make an amount higher than that, right? Which I believe most of us do lah. How many of you are not able to do more than 2% per year? Right. Okay. So anyways, I see. Can refinance and borrow more than 75% cash on the private property. So this is a very interesting question. Technically cannot, but my valuation can increase. So I can get valuation that's about 10% higher because I work with that many banks, that many valuers. But you need to minus your outstanding loan and CPF use. So gearing up will be able to take out money. So 75% valuation, minus away your outstanding loan, minus away your CPF, you'll be able to then take that amount out in cash. Okay. So that's what we can do. 75%, nothing more. Okay. The next thing is structure. That's the one that Chloe talked about. Okay. How to hold on to the property, what is extending the loan tenure, what is gear up, how to get waiver of fees upon sale. And usually the idea is to refinance. And when you refinance, right, you'll be able to lower the amount of principal you pay. And if you look at it, right, the interest is actually a little bit more only, but the principal gets cut down significantly. When you refinance, you'll be able to take 75 minus age rather than 65 minus age, which means your loan tenure can extend quite a bit. Okay. So the other thing you want to know about structure, right, is that when you buy that time, right, you need to be able to know where you're going to go, what you're going to do, so that you'll be able to save as much money as possible. For example, if you've got a foreigner spouse or a PR spouse, right, do you know that they can own 99% of the property and pay zero tax? They can own 99% of the property and own zero tax. And when eventually they want to buy over the 1%, guys, do you think that they have to pay the 60% for foreigner or 5% for foreigner on 1% or the entirety of the property? So if you think that the foreigner or the PR will have to pay for all, you type A. If 1%, type 1%. All right, Derek, Ryan, 1%, 1%. Absolutely right. Oh, Roy, okay, unfortunately not that correct. It's 1%. So imagine the amount of money that we'll be able to save. One property easily is already $1 million. We say half of the property, we say 50%. Wow, that is $500,000. $500,000 for foreigner times 60%, that is, somebody get a calculator. That's a lot of money. So this is for foreigner PR, but we want to talk about Singaporeans also. Okay, so Singaporeans are, if you look at the plan decoupling, so if we were to be Singaporean and we want to make sure that we want to buy a second property, my favorite thing to do is multi-property strategies lah. If you all haven't already know, so you can say a property that's $2 million. If you look at the slide over here, right? If you're looking at a $2 million property, okay. So if you're looking at a 2 million property, right, 1%, right, is $20,000. You'll be paying a stamp duty of 200 whole dollars. Okay. But if let's just say you do 50-50, you'll be looking at $1 million, which means you'll be paying $24,600 for just the stamp duty alone. Okay, still got legal and conveyancing fee and everything, which is why I like to talk to my clients a little bit more about what they plan to do. And sometimes, right, when there are some clients not here, not there, okay, can buy HDB, but then in the future, like not to the max of the potential, you know. Some people like not very sure whether to go HDB, not very sure want to go private. You know, there are some of us that are stuck in between lah. I think that HDB is frankly a superpower lah. Okay, and if you were to do one owner, one occupier for HDB, right? For certain people, they after their 5 years MOP, right? The second person, right? The occupier. Okay, one owner, one occupier. So the owner will have to own the property. That is that. But after the 5 years MOP, the occupier can then go out and buy a second property. So this is what a lot of people do. They rent out either one lah, depending how rich you feel. If you are okay, quite financially well off, you want a better life, maybe you live inside the condo. If you want to accumulate more assets, then maybe you live inside the HDB, you rent out the condo. So there's a lot of different ways you can play this, but like what Uncle Buffett say, you need to be able to make money while you sleep, right? And this is one way to do it. Singapore property, I like because we are almost like the Chinese Switzerland, you know, like most people, they come over here and then they have low capital gains tax. And I mean, where else is more secure than Singapore, right? So that brings us to our last point, okay? I try to save you guys as much money as possible, but the last and more important point for everybody would be the interest rates, because the strategy is very personal. The structure is also very personal. What I can then share to all of you as much as possible will be what interest rates to take. Okay, what's happening in the economy, what's this federal open market community, and what are the rates today. As you all can see, SORA today is 1.2%. 1 month SORA is about 0.99 and 3 month SORA is about 1.07. So should we take the fixed rate or should we take the floating rates? Okay, so if you are thinking fixed, you type F, float, you type O. Okay, so everybody try to vote over here. At this point of time, 1.55 versus, for example, we use 1%. Okay, this rate is a bit weird, but this is the best rate so far. The first year they give 0%, the second year they give 0.35%. So on average is 1.75%. So effectively, it will give us 1.1 175 there about lah. We say this is about 1% lah. Fixed, right? Okay, so Yi Hui says fixed at this moment. Okay, everybody, if you are thinking it's fixed, type fixed. If you are thinking it's float, type float. We'll come over shortly. Okay, and then we'll discuss why. Okay, I am going to go full Chinese on this. I'm gonna do my research in front of you guys, and y'all will be able to see how I can come to this conclusion lah. Okay, Katie, you are very clever. You put F. Roy also. F is for both. Oh, fix. Okay, fix. If you want to put float, you can use O also. Okay, or you type down the whole word. Okay, so to project where interest rates are going to go in Singapore. Singapore don't control any domestic interest rate. We are a very open hub. So typically we follow the US. Okay, we follow the federal funds rate, and it almost directly affects SORA rates. But Singapore is using exchange rate policy, and because of that, there's a bit more gyration lah. But this is what I normally do every time Jerome Powell come out and release what's known as a SEP, or a summary of economic projections. This is where I analyze what Jerome Powell and his team is saying, and then bring it back into Singapore context to then predict where SORA is likely going to go. Okay, so at this point of time, right, we see that from the last meeting to this meeting, not much has changed. The last meeting is this row. This is the last December projection until today. Not much has changed. This is the main thing. But let me summarize to you guys. Okay, Martian, interest paid down on your loan offset for rental income depends. Depends on how you declare. Okay, we can get into that a little bit more later. So the FOMC summary, I give you a quick overview for this, and you all don't need to go watch the entire thing. GDP is going to be higher for the next 3 years. If you all don't know, war is actually good for business. Unemployment, not much change. PCE inflation, they see that inflations are looking to increase a little bit from 2.4 to about 2.7. This is because it includes the food and energy. So core PCE does not include food and energy. So it increased by 0.2 from 2.5. But the effective federal funds rate, the thing that we look at the most, has not much changed. But later you will be able to see the votes actually, the number never changed, but the votes changed. Okay. So near term, right, what we are worried about, right, is that the energy prices to push up inflation. There's a lot more people shifting their ideas to fuel cuts. They say, okay, maybe we don't lower the rate so fast. Maybe we lower one time only. It depends on what's going to come over the next few months. We should see inflation come down towards the middle of the year. This is from the tariff effect, and oil shocks will not directly affect core PCE, but will indirectly affect. So even Jerome Powell, even our dear Lawrence Wong, also the keyword, the buzzword nowadays is uncertainty lah. Don't know what's going to happen. Don't know what is going to happen to the market in the next few months to come, and that's why a lot of people are watching and looking at the market, and I'm sure a lot of us are lah. Okay, so what I said just now, this is last on the right, this is December. This is last December, and this is now. Okay, so if you look at these two highlighted box, right, you realize, right, people are not as aggressive anymore. They shift up. Last time there was votes that say, okay, we want to cut all the way until like 2%. But right now people say, okay, I understand, maybe we don't cut so much now. And this is what you all should take away from the recent Federal Open Market Committee meeting. Okay, and because of that, right, I will be able to make a bit more educated prediction on where it is. The blue color line is what the US interest rates are doing. The red color line, this is what Sora is doing. And the yellow color line is what I think is going to happen. As you can see, guys, I am very humble. I say 52% accuracy. I don't know where the market is going to go, but at this point of time, I've been quite accurate on guessing the market. So once again, let me highlight. At this point of time, everybody, can you all see anybody say, okay, maybe we should increase the interest rate? Okay. Nobody at this point of time says that we are increasing the interest rate. Everybody say, okay, maybe cut one time, maybe cut two times. Then nobody say, okay, maybe we should come over here, or maybe we should come over here, or something like this. Everybody is in the consensus that we should either stay the same, cut one time, or cut two times. Not very sure yet. Okay? So, the reason why I want to say this is it comes to our question that I asked y'all earlier. Which one is better? The 1 month Sora plus 0.175 or the 2 years fixed at 1.35? Okay? So, if you're looking at these two, right, the difference is 0.24%, or over 2 years, it is approximately 1.8, or approximately 4,007. Like I said, I can try to save you a few thousand, and this makes for a pretty good Japan holiday, I feel. So, this is what I do. Okay? At this point in time, you want to look at what Sora is also doing, because you have to see what the local context is. And going into the MAS website, right, you'll be able to see, okay, last few days, in fact, the last whole month, right, it's been averaging around 0.8 to 1.1 thereabout, but got no space, so I cut a little bit. I cut the more relevant numbers for you guys. You can see recently it is above 1 already. Okay, recently it's at 1.2 already. Okay, so between these two, a lot of you got it correct. Okay, at this point of time, I am more biased towards the fixed rate. All right, at this point of time, we are able to get you 1.35%. And if you are having a HDB, right, because I love helping HDB property because the savings is like huge, right? The HDB interest rate, they pay you, they make you pay 2.6%, but bank interest rates for 400K and above got promotion at 1.4%. So that is a delicious 1.2% savings. And that's what I have so far. Okay. So any one of you got any questions?
Okay, guys. Okay, so how many of you felt whatever things that Ethan shared with you guys has been very insightful towards how you should be restructuring your mortgage and your loan? If that's been insightful, can you type I in the chat? Wow, awesome. Yeah, so personally, I also think that especially with the uncertainty right now, all right, I think inflation or the interest rate is not likely to come down so quickly like what like many people expect it to be. So I think it's actually quite wise to fix it at relatively low rates. If you manage to fix it right now, should inflation continue to go up and then like the government decide to increase the rate again, at least you fixed it, right? For the next 1 to 2 years, you are getting a very decent, like 1.35 in this case, percent per year. At least you know your maximum like payout is this, right? As compared to if you continue to let it flow, or if you haven't think about refinancing, actually there's quite a lot of margin of safety and the buffer that you can get by just simply refinancing. Yeah. So, okay. So in the meantime, I'm going to overtake the share screen from Ethan as well. So for those who are interested to have Ethan and his team, actually, Unbeatable Mortgage, try to look into how you can refinance better. This will be the form that you can apply. I'm just going to leave it inside the chat right now. And in the meantime, I'm just going to quickly go through, if you were to click the link, what are the things that you need to fill up so that Ethan and his team will be able to help you better. right? So once you go into the Unbeatable Mortgage website, basically this will be a Google form. Okay, if you have your details in terms of what are you looking for, are you for applying a new loan? Then Ethan and his team will be able to help you get a better new loan, right? As compared to you walking to the banks and all this, right? And then if you are looking for refinancing or repricing, so just state out your objective here, and then basically your preferred date for the call, and that's it, right? So very simple information. That's how Ethan and his team will be able to help you after this. And if you are thinking about the QR code, I'm just going to share screen on the QR code here, right? So yeah, you can just scan this and the same form will appear once you scan the QR code. Basically, I felt that this is a very smart way to optimize your cash flow. If you are facing similar situation like I do, you hold a property and you're just thinking, hey, how can I squeeze out additional cash flow every single month and have more savings to invest and all this? I think refinancing will be a very good choice to relook into your current property, right? And of course, if you're thinking about all these additional things like gear up, all this, right? So then Eden and his team will still be able to help you, okay? But once again, you just need to apply first and they will be able to assist you from there, okay? And last but not least, okay, there is a little bit of questions coming in here. I am also going to invite Joe and Sarah to be back here. And that's why the final Q&A will be, I'm going to bring up all three of them together and then I'll be facilitating the questions. And if you have any questions towards Joe, towards Sarah, just put it in the chat. Towards Ethan, feel free to put it in the chat. Then we will have the final about 10 minutes, okay, for the bonus Q&A that we're going to go through. Okay, because it's almost 1.5 hours already. Okay, thanks guys. Okay, I'm just going to spotlight Joe and Sarah as well. Okay, so over here, there's some questions regarding Yu Hui was saying that for fixed rate does not mean for 30 years. Will all be fixed for only 2 years? How does that work?
All right. So, Yihui, there are different kinds of package in the market. There is the 2 years fix, which is the typical one. There is 3 years fix also. There is also the 5 years fix. But this is usually one tenure, one block by one block by one block. This is a little different from the US side where it's fixed for 30 years. Singapore side fixed by 2 years at a time, typically. Even if you go for the floating rate, right? The first 2 years they will give you favorable rates. Then after that, they like for example, they will give you SORA plus 0.3, 0.5 or something like that. Then after that, year 3 onwards, they will give you thereafter rates, which is SORA plus 1%. So just by refinancing for that, we can already save like 0.7% on most cases. So please try to avoid your thereafter rates. Even if your mortgage is not due yet, right? Please go and put in your consultation so that we'll be able to help you avoid your thereafter rates.
Okay, Marty have a question. Can fully paid property go for refinancing?
Can. So when you got fully paid property, right, what you can do, right, if you're not looking to sell your property, you should also consider doing a gear up. When you have fully paid property, we can borrow up to 75% minus your CPF used.
So that's how you can actually get out more cash to do more things. If you know how to invest and all this, then you can optimize your entire portfolio better, right? That's how Eden and team will be able to help you as well. Okay. And Ryan is asking, is it possible to switch from HDB loan to bank loan?
Can. I love helping HDB loans switch to bank loans because the $400,000 and above, right, you're already getting 1.4%. That is a very, very delicious 1.2% savings. 1.2% multiplied by 400,000, you are saving 4,008 per year. You are locked in for 2 years, so you are saving about $9,600, which is what I really like. Okay, so yeah, please reach out. I will try my best to be in touch as soon as we can, and let's save you some money. Yeah.
So Zoe is asking, can refinance borrow 75% new loan from new private property?
Can refinance still borrow 75% new loan from new private property? You are saying that your private property is new, but you want to take out more money, is it? Can clarify?
Yep, Joey, so feel free to clarify. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you can take up to 75% if you do not have any CPF used. But most of us, right, we like to use CPF. So if you take 75 minus your outstanding loan, then that is what you can take out if you do not have any CPF lah. But if it's a new property, I reckon you would have used your CPF to buy, and then because of that, you should not be able to take out lah. But it's a case to case basis. And on top of that, right, my valuations, right, are usually quite generous lah. The thing is, I have 10 banks, and each one of these 10 banks got at least 10 valuers. So one whole army of people trying to get higher valuation for you, I'm pretty sure we can get above 10% lah. So sometimes you might be able to get up more than 75%, but very little bit lah. And just now I also saw a few questions like if the loan amount lesser than 100%, 100K, still possible bank loan. Okay. So if it's a bank loan, right, not sure whether if it's a private property or a HDB. If it is a HDB, you cannot gear up. Correct? And if it's a HDB lesser than 100K, right, this is where that interest rates are usually not very favorable. You can go and ask your current bank what interest rates they give. And then from there, right, if they give very lousy rate, sometimes the banks are like that. They give very lousy rate. When they can squeeze, they squeeze. And if they give you rates that are higher than 2.5% and you're left with 100K, maybe you can just use your ordinary account to just pay off. Okay.
Okay. Any additional questions? Right. Okay. All right. So any more questions for Ethan, for Joe and Sarah? Feel free to ask it right now. We still have a few more minutes so that we want to make sure we address everyone's question since we still have like over 60 plus of you inside. So if any questions, feel free to use this time because it's very rare for me to be able to get all three of them to be here to answer all your questions at the same time. All right.
And if y'all want to be a bit more private, because I understand these can be very personal questions, do feel free to reach out to us in our QR so that Joe and Sarah or me or myself will be able to answer your questions in private with more detail lah.
Yeah, so I think it's good. That's why like everyone's situation is different. Be it is it your mortgage, be it is it your current property, and that's why I think during the one-to-one consultation, that's where you can share openly, and that's how be it Ethan or his team and Joe and Sarah will be able to look into your situation case by the case basis, so they will be able to tailor and custom make the solutions for you as well. All right. So in the meantime, okay, I think that there are so far no more additional questions. Okay, I want to ask, okay, how many of you would love to know whether will Singapore property price right now still be a good time to buy or not? Since the price actually has gone up quite a fair bit in the recent years. Okay. If you want to know this answer, can you type A in the chat? Okay, at this current price, with all these prices keep on going up, is it still a good time to buy? What do you think? Okay, if you want to know the answer, type A. Okay, so Derek is saying, yes, can buy. So depend on what and where. Okay, so Katie wants to know the answer. How about others? Does anyone else want to? Oh, wow. There's a very specific question. When is a good time to buy Parktown? Okay, very specific to a certain project. All right, so this is where, all right, I am asking Joe, since we still have like, I think another 5 more minutes. Okay, I'm asking Joe to share with you guys the final overview towards the property market, because when he shared with me the information, I thought it was very, very insightful. So I'm going to pass the final 5 minutes to Joe before we wrap up everything. Okay, Joe and Sarah, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Chloe. Wow, actually, yeah, this is not the first time we see all these questions. Okay, so, okay, first question, is it a good time to buy with the demand? Okay, timing is always okay. Let me just say this. After sharing with all of you guys about TDSR, we already see a very strong trend in the sense that, okay, let me pull out some graphs, okay, and really show everyone. Give me a moment.
Yeah, Janet is also asking, is it a good time to buy current new launches as well?
So end of the day, okay, maybe I answer the current new launches first. End of the day, okay, it's let me share screen. Unfortunately, a little bit technical for now, but again, I want to do my calculations correctly. Okay. Context only new launch. I haven't go into a which new launch, which is a safe, which one is a better one, blah 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 blah. So everybody is asking us, hey, new launch. So everybody knows the new launch price difference is so huge. Okay. And after you buy, still can exit or not. So let's just look at it. Okay. So today, if you buy it, this is 2,500 PSF. This is I think last year's Ori. Ori is last year's Ori. Okay. So 2.5 million for a 3-bedroom average. Okay. So quite expensive. Okay. So okay, not here, not here. Okay. So we need to work out a few things. Okay. These are some of the property. In fact, let's go for 2,700 because Ori actually average PSF is 2,700. All right. So to afford this 2,700 PSF unit right now, which costs around 2.7 million, this is the minimum monthly household income unit. Okay, according to the ages. Okay, so by age 30, the household needs to be making 18K $683 minimum. Okay, to be able to afford this. All right, so of course, as you go older, your loan amount will decrease. Okay, so you need to be making more money. All right, so assuming okay, I'm also assuming no car loan, no other loans. Okay, that's why it's the minimum. So this is actually the income levels of our population. All right, first percentile meaning being the bottom 10%. Okay, the median income for the bottom 10%. Okay, 9th and 10th meaning the top 10 the top earners and the top 90th percent earners. Okay, so this is the income levels. All right, so of course, so far as of now, 17% they're in condos in 2024. Okay, around 5% they're in private lender. So all these things taken into account. Okay, so people always ask me hey, are the new launch prices in a bubble? Okay, what can keep the new launch prices up? There's only one thing actually, our income levels. If the population is not making enough money to sustain the loan, to finance the property, then we are screwed. Okay, the new launch buyers are screwed. Okay, so we can see based on this actually the top 20% okay, which is actually the top 20% of the income earners in the population actually stay in private property. Actually, you can see even at age 47, based on what we have here, still can afford. So which means, number one, we are not in a bubble. And we can see week after week, month after month, wow, this project, so many people who visit, so many of them sell out. Okay, so again, if we talk about capital appreciation now, okay, if you want to sell, let's say for 300K profit a few years down the road, okay, this is the income level required. Okay, because 300K profit, you plus the buy price, you are looking at 3 million. Okay, this is the income levels required for $3 million property. Okay, then which also means, okay, this translates to a 3.52% annual income growth for the next 3 years. If you are holding for 5 years, 2.1% growth for the next 5 years, and then 1% growth, okay, if you are planning to hold for the next 10 years. So far, everybody okay or not? Can understand this train of thought? Okay or not okay?
This one is monthly income, right? Monthly household income, right?
Monthly. Okay,
Okay.
So Okay, let's look at our historical growth rates, our historical income growth rates. So, okay, based on all this information, okay, the historical growth rates for past 3 years is actually for the top earners, okay, 5%, 6%. Then growth rates for past 5 years is around 3.5% to around 2%, okay, 3 to 1% growth. Okay, but do remember these are the top earners. So that means in the past 3 to 5 years, in order to in order in order to sustain a $3 million price tag, you all think can or not? Okay or not so far? Okay. Actually, in 3 years, our population income needs to grow around 3.5% per year. And looking at this, okay, shouldn't be a big problem. Okay, of course, you want to exit in 5 years, 2.1% a year. Also, I don't think it's a big problem also. Okay, looking at here. All right, so 10 years also shouldn't be a big problem also. So that's why this is another very key thing about holding power. All right, so how about if you want to make 400K, 500K profit? Okay, again, same method of calculation. Okay, to exit at 400K profit, you need a 4.6% annual income growth for next 3 years, 2.7 for next 5, 1.38 for next 10. Okay, so again, we compare again. Okay, 4.66 per year, still okay. Okay, based on the past 3 years growth, okay, still okay. Okay, based on the next past 5 years growth, still okay, not too big of a stretch. Okay, of course, 10 years, okay, to make 400K, no problem. Okay, all right, now we can see how about 500K profit? Can you make or not? Okay, this is the growth needed. Okay, 5.77. Can you see the top 20%? You are almost at the boundary already. Okay, you are okay, still possible, but a bit of a stretch. Okay, exit in 5 years' time. Also, we can see that it's starting to get a bit of a stretch already. Okay, why okay, usually I tell you I will look at the 90th percent because I can tell you the highest one they're not going for condo they're going for landed. So this one actually this one a lot of the income groups here actually not keen on condo. So based on this, I would say, is it still theoretically possible to make money from new launch right now? I would say yes. The numbers will tell me very clear, yes. But whether Parktown is good, all these things, I will need a bit more time to really look at the situation because I haven't been following Parktown but a lot. And I will need to compare to the Tampines area, the Pasir Ris area. So Kim is asking what's the potential upside of condos after holding for 4 to 5 years. Usually is around. Of course, it depends on which condo you are holding. Urban Vista, I say cannot. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's why it's like the process of going through the research, going through like the morph. Remember, Sarah and Joe talk about the morph framework, right? Because everyone is different, your objective, your holding period. That's why going through individually, that's how they're able to best advise you and see how they can help you the best when it comes to helping you to achieve your objective, right? So yeah, so hopefully that answer Kim's questions as well. So I think the best thing that you can do is if you have any plan of upgrading, right, or maybe selling off your current to optimize better, I think it's very, very useful to actually go through the consultation as well. Yeah, so thanks so much everyone once again. Okay, so I hope you guys find whatever things that we shared tonight, has it been insightful and useful? It has been useful. Can you type useful in the chat? Has it been useful, be it from learning about mortgages, learning about property selection, the thought process, the research process? So I think there are so many things that actually the homework needs to be done. And I personally just really regretted that I did not go through this entire framework and I just jump into conclusion that, oh, this is the best thing that I can do. Yeah, so that actually make me to be at this state right now. I'm kind of like pretty stuck. Okay, but fortunately is my property right now still generate me positive cash flow thanks to Ethan. So that's why I felt there's so many things that you can learn from both of them, right? Three of them, in fact. So go through the consultation to see what can be works best for you guys. And I'm very happy that it's been useful for all of you guys. And thanks once again for being here. And I really appreciate all of you guys. And last but not least, let's take a group photo together with Eden, all of us. Okay, Joe and Sarah. Okay, I'm just going to take a photo here. So everybody look at the camera, thumbs up. 3, 2, 1. Okay, awesome. Okay, thank you, everybody. I will be uploading the recording to my YouTube channel, so you need to watch it again. Feel free to just wait for me to upload tomorrow. I will inform you guys. Yeah, so hope you guys learned a lot, and I will see you in the next sharing as well. Okay, thank you, everybody. Good night. Thank you, Joe, Sarah. Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.